Pittsburgh Steelers are favored by 5.5 points with a total at 47.5 for a trip from the cold of Pennsylvania to the Sunshine State to face the Jacksonville Jaguars. The dramatic drop-off from the Jaguars forced the NBC executives and NFL to pull this game out of its Sunday Night Football time slot and into the 1 p.m. slot previously held by the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. Early action from sharp bettors has come in on the home underdog, as there are people out there that still believe that the Jaguars can turn things around. Over 75% of early betting, however, has been on Pittsburgh, but the line moved down, which means we have a pretty clear sharp versus public divide. It is very clear that the Steelers are the best team in the AFC North. Pittsburgh is 6-2-1, and the Steelers are a heavy favorite for their third straight AFC North crown and fourth in the last 5 years. The Steelers also have been kind to bettors with a 6-3 against the spread mark and also a 6-3 record to the over. They've ripped 5 straight wins straight up and against the spread. That could be why sharp bettors felt that the line was too steep, as the stock price for Pittsburgh is certainly at its highest point of the season. This is also a postseason revenge spot for the Steelers, who lost 45-42 to Jacksonville in the divisional round last season at home. Pittsburgh had a 545-378-yard edge in that game. James Conner has already racked up 1,158 yards from scrimmage on his 164 carries and 39 receptions. The Erie, Pennsylvania native is living out a dream with the Steelers and making the most of it. Unfortunately, Conner left last Thursday's game against Carolina with a concussion, so his status is officially questionable. But he does have the luxury of extra time to clear the league's concussion protocol. If he cannot, at least Ben Roethlisberger is coming off of his best game of the season with an 88% completion percentage and a 5-0 touchdown interception ratio. Because the Steelers have such a good player personnel department, they've been able to rebuild the defense on the fly with a lot of younger bodies. TJ Watt may not be at his brother's level, but he's doing everything that he can to live up to his last name. Watt has 8 of the team's league-leading 31 sacks and plenty of help in that department from Cameron Hayward and Bud Dupree. The happy times for the Jacksonville Jaguars after that win over the Steelers are distant memory. Even this season's win over New England feels like it happened ages ago. The Jaguars are now in last place in the AFC South at only 3-6. Only Buffalo and Oakland have scored fewer points than the Jaguars among AFC teams, which is how you wind up with a 3-5-1 record against the spread. This is only the third time that Jacksonville has been a home underdog since the start of last season. If the line holds at 5.5 or higher, this will be the biggest home underdog roll for Jacksonville since Week 14 of the 2014 season. Leonard Fournette found the end zone twice in his first game since Week 4, but only had 53 yards on 24 carries. He did have 5 receptions for 56 yards, but that was simply confirmation of how many problems the Jaguars have at wide receiver. Running back TJ Yeldon leads the team in catches with 42 and has 2 fewer targets than wide receiver Dante Moncrief. This isn't all on Blake Bortles, but it isn't hard to scapegoat a guy with a 12-8 touchdown interception ratio in just 9 games. It doesn't get any easier this week with center Brandon Linder out for the season. The Jacksonville defense has taken some big steps backward as well. After leading the league in yards per play and finishing second in takeaways last season, the Jaguars are 5th in yards per play allowed and only have 8 takeaways in 9 games. Vocal cornerback Jalen Ramsey has been remarkably quiet lately, as he only has 1 interception and 4 pass breakups on the season. Against this potent Pittsburgh offense, the return of A.J. Boy would be huge for the Jaguars. This is going to be the popular public opinion this week, but the Steelers have the defense to back up being a big favorite on the road. The team is 4th in yards per play allowed, so they are every bit as good as Jacksonville's defense this season, just with a better pass rush and more takeaways. The bye week didn't fix many of Jacksonville's issues as the Colts opened up a huge halftime lead and, despite the best efforts of the defense, held on for the win. The Steelers are rolling right now and have a little extra motivation from last year's postseason to fall back on. The under is also the preferred side on the total up until the Indianapolis game with some cosmetic touchdowns in the second half. The Jaguars had scored just 46 points over their previous 4 games against Kansas City, Dallas, Houston, and Philadelphia. Our pick and prediction will be for Pittsburgh, both straight up and against the spread, and this game to go under 47.5 points. Want some free money? Click over to betdsi.com and get up to $500 free cash to move your bets along when you open an account today. Join all the action with a few fun and exciting wagers, because it's only a game until you bet it.